Hello, welcome to Lions Pride. This is May's edition. We're here to celebrate May Student of the Month. I'm Steve Murray, principal of Chelmsford High School. I'm here with our host, Mr. Al Thomas from Rotary, and Dr. Bobby Lyons, Dean of Emerson House. And we'll start this one with Emerson.
Great, thanks Principal Murray. First Emerson House Student of the Month for May is Lauren Pratt. Lauren is a really great student, great kid. She's taken a pretty diverse course load. She takes a couple AP courses. She's a member of National Honor Society, World Language Honor Society, National English Honor Society. She's a member of the CHS Theater Guild and also serves on the board for them. She's a freshman mentor. She works at a local summer camp. She's a local sports center employee as well, and she'll be studying elementary education at Endicott College, which is a beautiful school, beautiful campus up in Beverly, and I'm sure you're going to thrive there. So welcome, Lauren.
Thank you.
So first thing I want to talk about is last week you were a member of the mock car accident.
Yes.
And so that was quite a production, a lot of time and effort. Can you talk a little bit about your role in that and the amount of time and effort you spent preparing for that?
Yeah, so as a group we met a few times before the occasion. It's a pretty well-kept secret at the high school as of who's in it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sneaking around to have these meetings with the teachers that are kind of behind the scenes running it. As a team of the 5 seniors that were chosen, we came up with this script and tried to make it something that related to a lot of the current juniors and seniors and something that would apply in a lot of their daily lives. So we chose leaving Seabrook Beach on the last day of school, a day that was a day after the mock car crash actually, and Seabrook was a tradition we used to do in past years. So we kind of tried to come up with something that would impact every friend group and something that would resonate and kind of send the message across about the dangers of drinking and driving, distracted driving, and that it could happen to anybody.
So after the mock car crash, and you guys reflected back and looked at what had occurred, what was the message that a lot of your friends had for you guys after the event? We
were fortunate enough to get a lot of positive feedback about the performance, and a lot of people said that it was pretty realistic, which was great to hear. That's what we wanted. It certainly made a lot of people think twice. Even just this weekend, I heard a lot of people say, like, I don't want to end up like Mock, or I'm going to make sure I have a ride, things like that. And I think I got the message across to have a reason that you make all of your decisions, what's your why, and have powerful reasoning behind every decision you make, because the consequences of that decision is going to stick with you. And that it could really happen to anybody, whether it's a friend, a boyfriend, somebody that you barely know. Anybody could be involved in the situation. Yeah, in my 5 years at Chelmsford High School, I say that was probably the best production, most realistic that I've seen. And so, do you act much? Because you did a great job acting in that. It was pretty impressive. Thank you. Yeah, I've been acting since I was in 6th grade, so I've been in a bunch of different musicals, short plays, stuff like that, but I've never had to play myself, so that was the big difference, is I've always played somebody else, and this one was playing myself in a tragic situation, so it was one of the harder ones I've ever done. Yeah, and hopefully you or anybody else ever has to deal with that, because it's pretty scary stuff. Looking at what you've done at Chelmsford High School, you're in early childhood currently with Miss Murphy. Yes. And talk about your role in that class and where you go, because you do some student teaching. Yeah. So talk about the school you go to and the kids you work with. Okay. Early Childhood 3 is taught by Miss Murphy at the high school, and you have to take it after taking Early Childhood 1 and 2. So I've had her every year since my sophomore year. And as a senior, you get to choose a classroom. You get to pick your top 3 teachers, I think it is, in the elementary schools and surrounding middle schools. And I had Mrs. Briand as my first choice, and she teaches 5th grade at Parker Middle School. So I've been so fortunate to student teach an awesome group of 5th graders at least 3 to 4 times a week. And I go into their classroom every time. It's F block. Yep. And I go in, and I've been able to teach, I think, 7 different lesson plans. I'm going on a field trip with them coming up soon. It's exciting. We do Shadow a Teacher Day, so you stay throughout their entire school day. And it's been really one of the most amazing experiences to get to know. I feel like I have 40 new friends, 40 new 5th graders that look up to me. They've been super respectful. They really treat me like an equal in the classroom, and it's an awesome chance to test run my future. Well, when you become a teacher one day, please don't forget about us and come visit often.
On behalf of the Chelmsford Rotary, I want to give you this plaque and congratulate you on great time at Chelmsford High School, and best of luck next year. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job, Lauren. All right, moving on to our next Student of the Month from Emerson. It's an honor to present Graham Jeffries as a Student of the Month. Graham is a really great kid, an impressive role model for his peers, for younger kids in town. He's a great athlete. He's thrived as a basketball player at Chelmsford High School. He's currently on the baseball team. He is a co-leader of the Tundra, which he could talk about that. He's a member of Best Buddies 24-hour relay. And he will be going off to Salve Regina next year to pitch for the Seahawks. So welcome, Graham.
Yep,
Welcome.
thank you for having me.
Graham, how's this year? How's the baseball team doing this year? How's things going?
We're doing very good. We have beaten a couple teams, St. John's Prep, Central Catholic, St. John's Prep for the first time in over like 25 years, which has been great.
That's awesome.
We've been really successful. We have a lot of seniors, which I think helps with leadership and everything, and a great coach as Coach O'Keefe is able to lead us and teach us things that we never knew.
Yeah, he's a great coach, great teacher. So you're going to go off to Salve Regina next year. What was it about that school that led you to make that decision?
I just liked the coaching staff there who reached out to me last summer and asked if I wanted to play for them. And I liked their everything they had to offer for the academics that I want to study in, which is business. They're able to. It's a beautiful campus.
Oh yeah.
And they're able to provide for me everything that I wanted in the school.
Great.
The next 4 years.
So you pitch. Do you play any other positions?
I've been playing a little bit of outfield this year for the first time in a while. I'm usually a pitcher only.
Yeah.
But been hitting a little bit, so.
There you go. Do you start or are you?
I've been starting this year, so.
What would you say your best pitch is?
Definitely my changeup.
Okay.
Throw it low in the zone. Get
All
the
right.
guys.
Nice.
Chase it. So.
That's great. And you played hoop at Chelmsford High School.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your experience with the basketball team.
Basketball team was definitely, I think, one of my favorite parts of my high school experience. I was only a 2-year varsity player, and I definitely had to work, but I got a little growth spurt my junior year, which definitely helped to my success. And Charlie Mickle, head coach, he's been a huge help to teaching me things and guiding me along the way to become a successful varsity player.
Right. Yeah, you're a great leader in the school and with these teams as well. What has been your favorite class you've taken at Chelmsford High School?
I'd have to say any class with Mr. Shoup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. Shoup, he's a great guy, great personality.
Yeah.
And he actually knows what he's talking about whenever you have a question for him regarding anything towards the business side of the world. And he has a nice little Lions locker thing going.
Yeah, can you talk about that? Do you work in the school store?
I do not, but I've helped make a couple batches of T-shirts for him, and
Nice.
it's really I have fun doing it. So and I had a great crew of kids in my class to help me do it. And
That's awesome. And the Tundra. Now, the Tundra's been around for quite a while. What role do you play this year with the
Tundra? It's actually a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things that I'm doing at CHS right now, I'd say. Me, Griffin Green, Chris Rabius have a good time leading whenever there's a big sports game coming up, whether it's against Billerica or a playoff game. Should certainly have fun doing it.
So who comes up with the themes for?
It's usually someone texts in our group chat and we're like, who wants to come up with the theme, and then we figure it out, or we'll put out a poll on Twitter and we'll get hundreds of responses. And
What was your favorite theme this past year?
I'd have to say one of the Hawaiian themes at the football game. A lot of people there, and everyone in a short sleeve shirt and shorts on the chilly night was definitely entertaining to watch.
Nice. Well, you've had a great run at Chelmsford High School. You're a great kid. You're going to do great things at Salve, so best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Graham, I've enjoyed watching you play both basketball and baseball. And on behalf of the Rotary Club, I wish you the very best at Salve Regina.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Hawthorne House. I'm going to be presenting the female student of the month for Hawthorne for May. It's Lucy Ma, Lucy, as a senior, has taken 4 AP courses. She's a member of the National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, English Honor Society, National Speech and Debate Society. She's the captain of the speech and debate team, vice president of Melting Pot Club. It's a pretty impressive resume here. She's a freshman mentor. She volunteers at the Chelmsford Senior Center, and she plans to study psychology next fall at Emory University. So welcome, Lucy.
Hello.
Welcome.
Well, a couple of things that you spoke about the other day are along the same line. You mentioned about the melting pot and the international lunch. Maybe you could talk about why you think this international part of education is important.
Yeah, so I think cultural identity has always been something really important to me, personally growing up in a pretty white suburban town. And just joining Melting Pot, I think really helped me personally find my own kind of embracing my heritage and culture. And I think it's really important for all of us to just trace back to our roots, where we come from, whether that be from a different country or a different town. I think it's just good to trace back to your roots and keep in touch with your background. So international lunch was a really important deal for Melting Pot because it was where a bunch of the ESL kids at Chelmsford High School or other members of Melting Pot brought together a bunch of different dishes from their culture or just dishes that they felt close to. So I know my friend brought lasagna and my mom made dumplings for everyone. And then we just all put it in the Learning Commons and then all the teachers were able to go in and eat. And it was a really fun time.
Did you perform? Because I know there's musical performances, people sing, dance. Did you?
I'm not too musically inclined, but I know we did have the a cappella groups perform. My friend did a traditional Indian dance. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. You guys did a great job this year with that.
Some people might not be familiar with ESL. Maybe you could just talk about what that program is.
So ESL is it's a class with Miss Morrill, and it helps kids who are moving here as English second language, helps them to adjust to the culture and the environment of CHS in America in general. I have a lot of friends who are in the class, so I got to see how it works pretty up close. So it's really helpful, and it's really nice that CHS provides that sort of opportunity for kids to assimilate into a totally alien culture and just help them just feel at home and welcome.
Speech and debate, I know, takes a lot of time. Most of it's on weekends, I believe.
Yeah.
What area do you compete in?
So I compete in speech. So speech and debate is split up into 2 parts. There's debate and then there's speech. So speech is more about focusing on the art of prose and language, and then debate is more about argumentation and facts and logistics. So I do speech and I do a activity called impromptu, which is basically you get a topic and then you get 2 minutes to come up with a 4-minute speech. And then it's really on the go, on your feet, and it's actually a lot of fun to participate in.
I know Mr. Zopes puts in a lot of time with
Yeah.
his weekend things, and I'm sure he must really enjoy it to spend that much time with you people.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
No,
but it's a
seriously,
commitment.
It's a long weekend.
You'll live with them. Yeah. Tutoring. Where was the tutoring situation? Oh.
So I made a club this year called Tutors of Tomorrow, and basically we take high school students and then we bring them to Parker Middle School to tutor for peers, and it's a really cool club to kind of bring together the community and set good role models for our younger peers. And I did this club with the help of Dr. Parks, Mr. Murray, and Mr. Wing, who was my 7th grade math teacher.
Very good. I don't know how we're doing for time. Are we all right?
We're all right.
Well, you've certainly had a variety of activities and contributed to not only the school but the community of Chelmsford in a lot of different ways. And those of us in Rotary really appreciate that kind of diversity and wish you the very best luck as you go on.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good job. All right, we're going to continue with Hawthorne House with Stephen Imperillo. Stephen is a really impressive young man. He's currently taking AP Physics. He's taken some other diverse courses. He's a member of the National Honor Society. He's a member of the National Spanish Honor Society. He's part of the swimming and diving team. He's a winter and spring track team captain. He's part of class reps, lives smart, freshman mentor, really impressive young man, as I said, and he's going to be studying nursing next fall at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. So welcome, Stephen.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
What got you interested in nursing?
Throughout my high school career specifically, I've gotten hurt a lot, which it's unfortunate, but I just have really appreciated all the people that were able to help me when I was in and out of the hospital with injuries, and that just kind of, it gave me an idea of what I want to do, and it's really help people, and it's an active job, and I hate sitting around. A cubicle job would not work for me, so I think it's a happy medium, everything I kind of want in my life.
Well, you mentioned getting injured. How is that? Maybe talk about how it's difficult or the challenges and when the team's competing and you're hurt and you can't compete. That's a tough thing. Maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, it's really it's terrible. My freshman year in swimming, I ended up breaking my back a couple of weeks before the state championship, so I wasn't able to perform, but I was able to be a part of the team still, and I was able to go to the meet still and cheer them on, which it was unfortunate that I couldn't compete, but it was good that I could see everybody else continue to grow and develop. And
were you at practice when you got hurt? Or?
Yeah, it was just a fluke accident at practice.
What were you trying to do?
It was a 1.5 somersaults with a full twist in it.
Oh, the
twisting
part of it? Yeah, that's tough. You spent a lot of time in track.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk, I know you've been very successful and maybe set some records. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I started track last spring after I hurt my shoulders in swimming. So
Stay away from the pool.
Yeah. So last year's track season was good. It was good intro. Fell in love with it. Everybody who I competed with on the team were just so amazing. It really showed me I really want to continue this. This past winter, I had a pretty successful season. Ended up coming in third in the long jump for MVCs. I set the school record for long jump in indoor, and that momentum kept me going into outdoor this season, where I improved, I think, 3 times on my own record for long jump.
That's great.
Yeah, and then I have all states this weekend, where I'm hoping to get a couple more inches and break the triple jump record.
It must take a lot of discipline because, unfortunately, particularly indoor track, except for parents maybe, not many people get to go because it's hard to get there and so forth. Maybe you could talk about how that's different than these sports where hundreds of people show up to watch you.
Yeah, it's a different atmosphere for sure. It's nothing like going to a baseball game, seeing all your classmates and stuff, but something I really started to do was I just talk to everybody at the meets. I have friends now from Billerica, Tewksbury, every town you can think of. I just go talk to people because I don't have any friends from my town there to support, so I just really wanted to be a supportive person, and in return everybody gives me support, which is awesome.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because the sports are so different. You certainly don't get to talk to people too much in swimming and diving.
Yeah.
So, I don't think people understand that the situation for the different sports is very different.
Yeah, especially with the jumping and specifically, it's a little niche group. So I only compete against these certain people. So after a while, you can't hate them because you just see them so much that you just begin to talk to them and become friends.
Are you going to try to compete in college?
I will. I'm very excited to. I haven't heard anything from coaches, but I'm going to plan on walking on to the team next year.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, UMass Boston. A lot more kids are going to UMass Boston. I think that the reputation of the school has really picked up. A relative of mine from Middleborough is going on, but she wants to be a doctor, and she's going there for the first part of her education, which she thinks will work out really well for her. Maybe you could comment about what drew you there.
I was very hesitant with the whole college. I was really interested in University of Vermont, but I didn't get into nursing there. So I went to the student accepted day for UMass Boston, and it was just a love at first sight. It was a beautiful campus right on the water.
I don't think people know that.
You plan on living there? They just built new dorms.
Yeah, freshman year I'm planning on living there, and then hopefully going to find an apartment. But it was just so beautiful, and I heard so many positive things about their programs. I was set on that.
That's great.
Good for you.
Well, again, like all of your classmates, you've made significant contributions to Chelmsford and the community at the high school in so many different ways. And on behalf of the Rotary, I want to congratulate you on that and wish you the very best next year.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job, Steve.
And our next student of the month is from Whittier House, McKenna Platteel. McKenna takes French, Senior Odyssey, Environmental Science, Quantitative Reasoning and Problem Solving, and does art sculpture. She's on the National Honor Society and the National English Honor Society. As far as achievements, she had the highest academic achievement award and excellence in world language award. She's a youth leader in a mission trip. You're the secretary of that as well, and the camp counselor, and you take a mission trip to France. We talked on the way in. I'd like to hear more about. McKenna plans to attend Worcester State University and study education. And her long-term plans include relocating to France and teach English to non-native speakers. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Well, your background is very different than most of your classmates. If I remember correctly, you were homeschooled for a while. Maybe you could talk about that transition, because I don't think people understand about homeschooling, first of all, and secondly, the challenges of moving from there into a high school.
Absolutely. So I'm actually not from Massachusetts at all. I was born in Maryland, and my dad was in the Air Force, so I ended up living in 7 different houses, and then I eventually landed in Chelmsford. And then I was homeschooled until the end of 8th grade, but I had 2 older siblings who went through the high school a couple years before me, so definitely having them go through it before me was good to see how that they made it out okay.
Now the homeschooling programs, a lot of them are very different. Some you're part of like a community of all kinds of homeschool people, and some it's very much tech-oriented. Could you just talk a little bit about what yours was like?
Yeah, so once we got, like, different places that we lived in the world through the military, there's been different homeschool organizations that we would have, like, once a week meetings with them, and then the rest of the week we would have, like, online classes. And definitely as I got older, we switched to more online orientated things while still having community time.
You moved around a lot. That led you into having more of an international view. Maybe you could talk, share some of your international experience and what you're going to be doing this summer and everything, because on the way in we found it very interesting.
Yeah, so definitely starting when I was younger, just getting used to every 12 months or so packing up and making new friends, finding a new home. And then when I was 15 years old, my church started this program of every July we would go to work at a summer camp in France. And through that, I was what they would call like an intentional camper, which is a junior counselor, where it was like the American side of kind of building relationships and like teaching English to them. And then this is my first year as the leader, so I'm actually in charge of a couple freshmen that I'm bringing over from that both live in Westford, and I'm their counselor as I take them to experience their first time at camp.
Now, sometimes you hear when you travel that the French don't like us too much. Did you run into any of that?
A little bit, but like, I guess it's kind of like the loud factor about Americans, but just
We're loud.
a little bit, yeah.
And obnoxious sometimes.
Sometimes, I guess everybody is, but.
Yeah. Going to school next year, what are your plans?
So I'm going to Worcester State,
Yeah.
and I chose that school because of their study away programs and their study abroad programs. I'm actually going to double major in French and English with a minor in education, just so I can learn more of the language and then hopefully eventually become a teacher for English learners.
Well, I think it's interesting you bring that up about the international picture, because I don't think most people associate the state schools with that type of opportunity. So it's good that you bring that up. Now, will you study abroad at some point too?
Absolutely.
When will
yes.
that be?
So I'm planning my first year. I'm going to live in Worcester, kind of like accumulate to the community there, and then eventually I'll want to do like a year in Paris. My favorite part is the south of France, so I'll do a semester or so down there. Just different places, getting used to them.
Are you going to live on campus in Worcester?
Yes.
Okay, because you know the hills, that's where it snows all winter, and all the winter weather reports come from Worcester. So,
Yes, they do.
well, again, thanks for sharing the diversity
Of course.
experiences. And I'm excited for you. I mean, you've
Thank
got so
you.
much coming up, and on behalf of the Rotary Club, I wish you the very best luck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And the last student of the month for May is also from Whittier House, and it's Griffin Green. Griffin Green is an AP Environmental Science. He does AP Psychology, Civics, Senior Odyssey, Retail Marketing. He's the National Honor Society, National Business Honor Society, and he's on the CHS baseball team, serving as the captain. He's also the captain of the golf team, and he's a co-leader of the Tundras we learned about a little earlier. And he's a 3-time MVC. Did not know that, all-star for golf. Next year, Griffin will attend Phillips Academy in Andover, and he plans to be competitive a 4-year university afterwards. Welcome, Griffin.
How's it going, guys?
You.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Griffin.
Now, as a terrible golfer, my first question is, what do you shoot?
I try my best out there.
I'll make you feel better.
Be modest.
If I'm under 100, it's great.
That's not too shabby.
I think it's pretty shabby. No, just kidding. You're going to prep school. That's not a route that a lot of people take. You want to share a little bit about why? And, Phillips is obviously a great place to go.
Yeah. So how it worked out was I was kind of hurt earlier in my high school career, so I didn't get that chance to show my baseball skills that often. Okay. So I was hurt my sophomore year, so that was tough. So I got a big growth spurt going to my junior year, and I was like, maybe I should possibly play in college.
Yeah.
So I played that summer, and I didn't get the looks I was wanting to get, so I was like, let's just do another year.
Yeah.
So that was part of it, and it's going to get me prepared for college as well,
Oh, definitely.
which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that's a good place.
Yeah,
They'll make you work.
Very competitive, so.
Yeah. This is a little bit unusual, but when you spoke to us, you talked about changing shape, that you used to be smaller and maybe a little bit heavier. Maybe you could talk about that. No, seriously.
No.
The reason I'm bringing this up is that this is a thing that a lot of kids go through. And maybe you could just take a minute to talk about that transition from being there to where you are now and the challenges that it brings.
Yeah, so it's funny actually. The other day we were doing my heights on the on my door.
Oh, everybody has a door like that. Yeah.
My brother's a big kid. Like, he was the same height. He's 11 right now. When I was 14 years old, so he's a big kid. So, I mean, it was kind of difficult at first. I mean, I was weighing because all my friends were pretty tall as well. As you can see in the hall, it's like Graham. Graham's a big kid, but me and Graham just like our junior years, we just shot up, and now we're just taller than everyone else, and it's kind of weird how that comes into play.
Well, there's a pitcher against the Red Sox the other day that went through that to an extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember what it was, but he went from like 6 foot to 6'9" and 6'10"
it's crazy.
or something.
It's crazy how it works like that, but it's
the coordination's tough during that transition too, right?
A lot of lanky thoughts right there.
So I assume you've been enjoying this baseball season also.
Yeah, it's been great. It's really been great. A lot of history's been made. Like when we beat St. John's Prep for the first time in coach's career, and then being North Andover, who is a very, very talented team.
Well, a lot of the teams that you've, I saw a number of your games, and some of the teams from the Division I, Lawrence and Methuen, there's a whole bunch of good teams in Merrimack Valley this year.
MVC's definitely, I would say, in my opinion, is the toughest conference across the state, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it seems like more so this year than perhaps a lot of years.
Yeah.
You guys must be really close. I mean, the team is, 80% or more seniors, and to be able to be together like that, sometimes, you have 3 or 4 seniors, and it's very different. Maybe you could talk about being together as a group like that.
Yeah, so I mean, ever since 110 Fields, we've been playing together, so it's huge to come back for our senior year and show we're going to give it our all, show the best leadership as possible, especially the younger kids, because there's only 4 of them coming back next year, so we got to show them the roots. Show them, hey, this is what you got to do to be a competitive, healthy, and just a strong team, especially for years to come. So,
well, playing at Ayotte can sometimes be a challenge because when the season starts, first of all, the field's almost flooded.
Yeah, that's true. It was in rough shape, but we definitely, as a team, put in a lot of effort, just raking it every practice before, especially after.
I can appreciate that. I coached baseball, and it was the first year on the field, and we spent time picking rocks. People know that in New England, the rocks grow every season. I don't know if you've had the pleasure of picking rocks, but my teams, the first couple of years, picked a lot of rocks. I was down in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, in a way, funny enough, brought us together, just to show, like, hey, this is what you got to do.
Of course, another challenge is the wind coming off the lake. Sometimes that can,
that is a factor, surprisingly.
Games too.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, again, sounds like you've had a good time at Chelmsford High School, and you've got some real challenges coming up, and you should go to and really take it serious and represent us well when you go to Phillips. Tell them that the public school kids are pretty good too.
All right, I'll tell them that. I'll tell them that.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
behalf of the Rotary Club. I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That concludes May Students of the Month. I want to say thank you to congratulations to all our May Students of the Month, and thank you to our host, Mr. Thomas, and Dr. Lyons from Emerson House. I'm Steve Murray. Thank you. See you next month.